When it comes to promoting martial arts to the world, Bruce Lee left a legacy that can only be toppled by a few. Consequently, the news of his death sent shockwaves across the world, with people realizing that they had lost a very rare gem. People were even more shocked when the authorities in Seattle got permission to open up his tomb, 5 decades after he was buried. The discoveries were breathtaking and have been a thing for the history books. So, what exactly did they get to find in this tomb? Keep watching to find out. Bruce Lee was born November 27, 1940 in San Francisco, California, and was a director, actor, martial artist, and philosopher who reoriented the Western attitude towards Chinese culture and martial arts. His entire life, career, and legacy are all ideal examples of his constant pursuit of perfection and creativity with sensitivity toward cultures. His early life was a blend of exposure to cultures and a natural talent for acting. Bruce Lee Hoi Chun was his father, and he exposed him to show business at the tender age of 2. As a child, Bruce was nervous and resourceful but was constantly getting into street fights. His dad understood that Bruce's energy must be channeled and used constructively. Therefore, he introduced him to the art of Tai Chi. However, it was his later training in Wing Chun under the great master Yip Man that really cemented his foundation in martial arts. Bruce worked assiduously, becoming skilled at his art and attaining a fine perception of the martial arts philosophy. For Bruce Lee, turning to acting was almost a natural flow. Being the child of a great opera singer, acting was the world he came to know around him. He first appeared on screen as an infant in Golden Gate Girl in 1941, and subsequently made a series of appearances as a child in Hong Kong films, and he earned the nickname Lee Siu Lung, which translates to Little Dragon, due to his over-the-top acting. He had featured in over 20 films when he was still just a teenager. However, acting wasn't his first priority in life, as martial arts really interested him. When Bruce was nearly reaching the end of his teenage years, his life took a dramatic turn. He became entangled in legal issues because of his fist-fighting in the streets, so his parents agreed to send him to live with some family acquaintances in America. In 1959, Bruce was 18 and left San Francisco, holding menial occupations before eventually reaching Seattle. It was there he studied philosophy at the University of Washington. It was there that he began to adapt his philosophy and martial arts studies. In 1963, he founded his first martial arts school, Junfan Gung Fu Institute, which involved teaching the combination of Wing Chun and his own emerging philosophy relating to martial arts that he would later label Jeet Kune Do, or Way of the Intercepting Fist. Bruce Lee was unique in how he taught martial arts. He was a man who believed in practicality, efficiency, and a degree of flexibility, eschewing strict traditional forms in favor of something more flexible and personalized. This also extended to the way he taught, which was progressive and egalitarian. Unlike most schools of the traditional martial arts of that period, Bruce taught students of all ethnic backgrounds, including students who were not Chinese-speaking. It was a radical departure from an age when martial arts were regarded as closely guarded secrets passed down in culture and family tradition. His most famous non-Chinese student was Hollywood actor Steve McQueen, whom he met and mentored. Bruce's professional acting career in America started poorly. In 1966, he played Kato in the television series The Green Hornet. Though it wasn't so significant, the series saw Bruce's spectacular fight skills and charm turn into something special. His fight sequences were unfamiliar to American viewers, being colorful, lively, and infused with realism. Despite his mounting popularity, Bruce battled entrenched racial stereotypes and racism in Hollywood. Not satisfied by the generic roles Asian actors were being offered in Hollywood, he went back to Hong Kong in the early 1970s to look for new prospects there. Bruce Lee's career took off in Hong Kong. He appeared in a string of innovative films, including The Big Boss in 1971, Fist of Fury in 1972, and Way of the Dragon in 1972, which he wrote and directed. It was to be expected that these movies showcased his incredible fighting skills in martial arts, and introduced a new dimension of realism and intensity to the genre. Unlike the normal image of Chinese martial arts films at the time, which made immense use of movements and magical content, Bruce highlighted realistic combat maneuvers, speed, and force. His fight choreographies were carefully planned and executed with high accuracy, and they gained him a pretty significant international following. Somehow, his success in Hong Kong brought Hollywood knocking. Bruce Lee found himself cast in the starring role of the co-production made by Warner Brothers and Golden Harvest in Enter the Dragon in 1973. The movie was a great success, turning him into an international superstar and breaking box office records everywhere around the globe. Sadly, Bruce Lee died on July 20, 1973, before the film was released, at the tender age of 32. His death was due to a cerebral edema, although the events surrounding his death are controversial. Bruce Lee's legacy goes well beyond his movies. He was a trailblazer who smashed stereotypes and paved the way for generations of Asian actors and martial artists to follow in his footsteps. His philosophy of Jeet Kune Do centered on self-expression, adaptability, and combining various martial arts disciplines in tune with his own vision of martial arts as a universal system. He also cut across cultural differences by teaching martial arts to everybody regardless of class or race, and spreading a sense of unity and respect for other cultures. Apart from his success in acting and martial arts, Bruce Lee was a deep thinker who left behind an abundance of writings on philosophy, self-improvement, and martial arts. His thoughts still inspire millions across the globe, bridging geographical and cultural divides. Bruce Lee's life testified to the efficacy of determination, creativity, and the dogged pursuit of one's interests. He remains an unassailable icon, not just a movie actor or a martial arts practitioner, but as a symbol of transcending obstacles and being great despite difficulties. Bruce Lee's life was a patchwork made of cultural fusion, personal simplicity, and pioneer achievement, both in his career and in life in general. His marriage to Linda Emery, an American, was unequivocal proof that he could blend disparate cultures and create a healthy, solid relationship. He met her at some point during the early 1960s when Bruce was giving martial arts lessons in Seattle. Among his trainees was Linda, whom he fell for, with his wit, charm, and enthusiasm for martial arts. Across the social divide and the cultural prejudices of the time, they became a couple and were wedded in 1964. Their union was a defiance of the norm when interracial unions were still rare and often resented. They bridged the cultural divides, combining Bruce's Chinese and Linda's American roots to create a peaceful home life. Bruce and Linda's union was built on respect for each other, shared beliefs, and genuine love for each other. Linda was Bruce's source of strength in every way and supported him as he chased his dream of the performing arts and martial arts. She was tasked with tending to his career, understanding the theatrics of the entertainment industry, and raising their two children, Brandon and Shannon. In spite of the highs and lows of Bruce's professional life, he valued his family and in letters and interviews, regularly professed love for Linda. It was a marriage in all senses, with Linda as the emotional core and Bruce inspiring her through sheer will and vision. Together they built a home that was an oasis of love, order, and cross-cultural growth. Sadly, Bruce Lee's life and career were cut short on July 20, 1973, when he unexpectedly passed away at the age of 32. His untimely death shook the world to its core, leaving his fans, friends, and family stunned. Bruce died at the peak of his career, having just completed Enter the Dragon, which would turn out to be an international phenomenon that would cement his place in the annals of martial arts legend. His early death robbed not only the world of a visionary artist, but left loved ones and millions behind to grapple with an enormous loss. According to official records, he died of cerebral edema or pathological water accumulation in the brain. Bruce was in Hong Kong when he died, on a trip to complete a possible film deal that would star another actor named George Lazenby. Due to his headache, Bruce visited Taiwanese actress Betty Ting Pei, with whom he was then working. Later in the day, Bruce slept and never woke up. He was taken to the hospital, where he was discovered dead upon arrival. During an autopsy, it was discovered that his brain had enlarged and that he died due to cerebral edema. However, the reason this condition occurred was unknown, and therefore it became a huge controversy, resulting in rumors. Without a clear cause of the condition, there were various speculations about why Bruce Lee had passed away. Some believed that he had passed away due to an allergic reaction to the painkiller that he had taken, while others believed that his intense bodybuilding and doping might have led to his condition. Conspiracy theories were in full swing, with some believing that Bruce had been assassinated since he was vocal in his views and his plans to uncover the martial arts secrets to the Western world. Despite all the hearsay, no evidence in any form has appeared to substantiate these conspiracy theories, and the cause of death remains officially a cerebral edema. Bruce Lee's death left a lasting mark on the world, but his legacy continued with his family, in his movies, and through his teaching. He is buried at Seattle, Washington's Lakeview Cemetery, as Linda chose on his behalf in memory of his connection to the city where they first met and where their life started. The private funeral ceremony was attended by a few close friends and family, and even the few actors in attendance included Steve McQueen, James Coburn, and Chuck Norris, who all carried the coffin. Bruce's tomb is marked by a simple headstone bearing his name in English and Chinese, and the inscription, "Founder of Jeet Kune Do." Over the years, his resting place has been a shrine for fans from all over the world who come to pay homage to the man who revolutionized martial arts and inspired millions. Bruce Lee's life, although brief as it was tragic, was a witness to the strength of will, fantasy, and cultural exchange. His marriage to Linda Emery was a testament to his capacity for bridging cultures and creating a life of love and respect. His professional life, which is characterized by artistic success in martial arts and filmmaking, is an inspiration to generations of artists, athletes, and thinkers. Even in death, Bruce Lee's influence has been immense because his philosophy of adaptability and self-expression brought harmony between cultures and disciplines. His legacy is not a testament to physical prowess or film greatness, but to a purposeful life of passion and tireless commitment to breaking down barriers. Shockingly, the senseless accidental death of Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee, on March 31, 1993, was another tragedy to mar the Lee family legacy. Brandon, a young man who followed in his father's footsteps as a martial artist and an actor, was only 28 years old when he met a premature death in an accident on the set of The Crow. While filming one of the scenes, a prop gun loaded with a live cartridge was accidentally discharged and hit Brandon in the abdomen. He was admitted to a hospital but subsequently died from his injuries in the accident. The accident shocked the film industry and ignited new controversy over safety practices on film sets. Brandon's untimely death was ironically as sudden as that of his father's, creating a tragic history for Lee's family. Brandon is buried beside his father, Bruce Lee, at Lakeview Cemetery in Seattle. It is so touching that he is buried with Bruce, speaking volumes about the enormous father-son bonding. The burial ground, which is today a shrine to Bruce Lee devotees, now attracts more and more pilgrims who come to pay their homage to the two icons. The inscription on the tombstone over Brandon's grave says, "Because we don't know when we will die, we get to think of life as an inexhaustible well. Yet everything happens only a certain number of times, and a very small number really. How many more times will you remember a certain afternoon of your childhood? An afternoon that is so deeply a part of your being that you can't even conceive of your life without it. Perhaps 4 or 5 times more. Perhaps not even that. How many more times will you watch the full moon rise? Perhaps 20, and yet it all seems limitless." This is from Paul Bowles' The Sheltering Sky. It is a quote that would say everything that would be needed to convey the type of philosophy that Bruce and Brandon both shared. Later, the city of Seattle, in conjunction with the Lee family, tried to commemorate and preserve Bruce Lee's legacy in a way that would introduce his name to generations to come. The family members agreed to the opening of Bruce's tomb in 2020 as part of the conservation and documentation of the contents of the tomb. This was a milestone and one-of-a-kind event, given that the tomb had not been opened since 1973 when Bruce had passed away. This was done with maximum respect and caution, as a measure of the deep respect that the city and family had for Bruce's contributions to martial arts, films, and culture. When the crew opened the tomb, they discovered a treasure chest of items that showed them Bruce Lee's personal life and the extent to which he had touched other individuals. The items included letters from friends and fellow martial artists all over the world to Bruce. These letters, so meticulously preserved, bore witness to the worldwide reach of his impact and the deep emotional bond people felt with him. Some thanked him for his instruction, and others provided anecdotal evidence of how his philosophy had transformed their lives. The fact that the letters had been well preserved was a sign of the family's aspiration to preserve Bruce's legacy. Most touching of all the discoveries, however, was a letter written by Bruce Lee himself. It was a letter to his future self and was complete with ambitions, aspirations, and philosophical thoughts. Bruce wrote of his hopes for the future of martial arts, his desire to bring people together regardless of culture, and his personal dedication to self-improvement. The letters offered an intimate, personal look at the mind of a man who, though an actor and martial artist in his own right, was also a philosopher and visionary. These discoveries sealed Bruce's impact as an actor and instructor. Aside from letters, there were a few personal belongings in the tomb which said a lot about Bruce's lifestyle and interests. These varied from photographs to training advice and even some reading materials. Books on philosophy, martial arts, and self-improvement were among the count, a reflection of Bruce's hunger for knowledge and curiosity. The team also discovered other things pertaining to his career in films, scripts, and costume pieces, among other things relating to his career as an artist. All the materials were documented and preserved so that they can serve as an inspiration to future generations from the life and career of Bruce Lee. The grave still attracts tourists to this day because people from all over the globe visit to pay their respects to Bruce and Brandon Lee's grave. The grave, overwhelmed by the peacefulness of Lakeview Cemetery, is an inspirational and reflective location. Both tourists and fans usually leave flowers, notes, and other trinkets as signs of respect, a living memorial to how Bruce and Brandon touched so many lives. Seattle made great efforts to keep the grounds in tribute and respect to what it was intended to be, and it continued to find its place in the cultural sphere. However, even in death, Bruce's legacy still lives on. There have been efforts in recent times to create exhibits and educational programs in tribute to his life and legacy. These are meant to introduce new generations to Bruce's philosophy of adaptability, self-expression, and cross-cultural exchange. In telling his story and sharing the philosophies of his life, the city of Seattle and the Lee family hope to inspire others to pursue their passions and push beyond challenges, as Bruce did. Bruce Lee's legacy is one of resilience, innovation, and cultural transcendence. The premature death of his son Brandon and the maintenance of their mutual bond act to remind people of the transience of life and the strength of memory. So while they may have been taken away from the world, their spirits live on to inspire thousands of people to reach for greatness and attain the limitless possibility of the human spirit. Not only is the tomb a resting place for the legends Bruce and Brandon Lee, but it is also an honor to the legacy that they have left behind for many more generations to come. We would love to hear the best memory that you have of Bruce Lee in the comments, and make sure to check out our other videos. We will see you in the next one.